Hello, I'm Toycat, and the United Kingdom has an unfair reputation when it comes to food, especially when it comes to London, which has a very diverse food scene from all around the world. If you want delicious food from pretty much any country, you can probably find it here. It is one of the small upsides to the globe-spanning / colonial past, and it means that if you want to try food from basically any country on earth, you can probably do so within the confines of this city. And so, it's been a long time goal of mine, and indeed, I've been working towards it. It's a fun way to learn about each country by trying its cuisine, and so today's video will be a small service towards that. I'm going to be going to an interesting food place from every continent on the planet and show you where to find it in London. There's a wide variety of what's included here, but it will all have a vegan option, not that I'll be personally eating it. And so, what should you go visit in London? Let's show you each of the 7 continents, starting with what might be the hardest, South America. There are very few South Americans in London, but yet, let me show you some amazing arepas. This is one of the, admittedly, very hungry. Important part of really enjoying food is be starving. You don't be as much of a food cricket, but you guarantee you're going to like it. But more seriously, here is the arepa. Let's give it a shot. I always assumed it'd be a finger food, but this one is so packed. I think I'm just going to have to go for it with a bite, but then I'm going to have to finish off with a fork, because otherwise this is going to go wild. Look at the size of this thing. Yeah, it's like when you have a burger that's got 4 patties and you just can't fit your mouth around it, but let's try anyway. Bad idea. Abort. Good bite, honestly. This was unexpected, but it's good. The pastry though, or breading, the arepa itself. Okay, that's pretty good. We got some avocado on the top. We got some chorizo mixed with the cheese so artfully, in my opinion. Okay, that chorizo is good. Oh. Yeah, that is absolutely delicious. You pay a decent upcharge for the meat ones versus a vegan one. So I guess alternatively, if you don't really feel like meat, you get a good discount. But it is worth it. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. Oh. So this is a vegan one. It is exactly the same, except it has a vegan cheese instead, and also there is no meat, of course. But yeah, very curious about how this one is going to taste. Is it going to be great without that amazing chorizo? Pretty good, actually. Very different. There's this funny thing, like a lot of dishes where you remove something, you're like, oh, yeah, you can, that's it. Still good though. The black beans, the cheese, it's all coming together strong. That is really, really solid. I have to say, if you want to try food from South America, clearly come to Street Latin Eats arepas. Very, very, very delicious. And as soon as I'm finished recording, I'm going to get a face full of food. I can't do it on the camera, but I just want to go. Oh. Anyway, now that we're done in South America, it's important to go to North America. Because this is Japes, London's first deep dish pizza. First, in the sense that it's the only one, not the best, although I guess also the very best. Let's see how good it actually is. I'm excited. It's one of those weird pizza things. It's not even a real type of pizza deep dish. It's an interesting cheesy dish anyway, and I'm excited to try it. So the menu here is incredibly interesting. There is a Chicago deep dish section, and then there's a London-style pizza, which is supposedly a little bit of Chicago, a little bit of Detroit, a little bit of their own special sauce. This is a London-style vegan pizza, just for comparison, with this, the deep dish and original margarita. This is $9.95 plus an extra $2.95 for the Parmesan crust. I am so excited for this, but first, I think it's important we try the London-style pizza. It is very curious looking, I have to say, and it's very hard to tear. But it is looking like good pizza. Nothing like what I'd expect if I just heard London style and didn't read it. Oh, okay, it's fine. How is this gonna taste? It's very thick, very doughy. That is a risky type of pizza, but let's go for it anyway. I think vegan cheese is always described as hit and miss by people. It's not. I'm saying this is not a hit, but the bread, real good in this. London style is compelling, but honestly, the problem with this type of pizza is it always just reminds me of Pizza Hut, and Pizza Hut is great, but you just always go to Pizza Hut when you want Pizza Hut. Okay, that crust though at the edge, extra good. But the reason I'm here, the star of the show, is this, my Chicago style pizza. What's it gonna be like? Let's find. Honestly, I feel like I'm tearing this wrong. Like it's got like little perforations for it, but it's just not going to plan. This is Chicago style pizza. Look at that cheese, look at that. Mozzarella melted is the best taste in life, and to have so much of it that you genuinely can't keep it going is incredible. And I'm excited to go for my first bite. I'm in food heaven right now. So good. So much melted cheese. So much melted cheese. There's a bunch of tomato I didn't get in the middle, admittedly, but just based on this, it's like the best cheese toasty you've ever had, and then there's just so much of it. So much more cheese than you'd ever put on one. I'm usually a big fan of like Naples style pizza, the very Napoli style pizza, the very different opposite type of pizza to this. But the amount of cheese, the amount of dough, the amount of all of it together, I'm realizing this might be my new favorite pizza place. I have to wait till the end because it looks like it's going to be very cheesy, I'm going to have an interesting set of feelings, but I am excited for this, and honestly, not so much for this. I'll give this to my camera person. Everywhere we go today, by the way, we'll have a fun vegan option for you. And by you, I don't mean you the viewer, although maybe you the viewer, but instead the you that is politely holding up a camera while not eating pizza, even though they're hungry. Thank you. Oh, so good. Oh man, that pizza was so good. It is genuinely one of the best pizzas I've had this year, and that's crazy to say. I feel like Chicago pizza is barely pizza, but it's just such a good cheesy meal. And so to go the exact opposite direction, something that vibes a little bit healthier, let's go to the African continent now. So I'm in Elephant and Castle. This is a very modernly developed part of London. I feel like until recently I had a history of being terrible, but because it has that history, if you're the sort of person who thinks that food is only authentic if it's in a real rough area, then you can find that food here. But you can also find, in my opinion, food that's authentic because it means it comes from the people who made it. And so let's go to an Ethiopian place. I think there's some debate about like West African food versus East African. I kind of wanted to get a jollof going on here, but instead we're going for some Ethiopian food because around here you can find an incredible place into one of the coolest parts of Elephant and Castle. I really love the modern part of it, which is Biza, or Beza, or you know, it doesn't matter. What does matter is what you can actually get inside, and again, I feel like I'm excited for this just because of the sheer quantity of food you get when you go for Ethiopian. It's an experience unlike any other. In the same way that there's no other cuisines equivalent to pizza, I feel like this is a similar situation of like, sometimes you just want this type of food and you can't find it elsewhere. And one of the reasons why that's true, by the way, ordered now, it's here, £19 per person, but you get all of this, everything included, and it's all very vegetable-y, but indeed, that doesn't mean low on flavor. I'm very excited about the idea of anything you eat with your hands. Honestly, every food's better with your hands, it's just there's different circumstances where it feels rude, like I would go into a steak restaurant and eat that with my hands if that was socially acceptable. But since there's very few foods that fit this criteria, I take advantage of it when I can. I way underdid that in terms of flavor. I think what you're meant to do, I think I've got way too little here, is you pick up a big bit, and then you like scoop it up like this, maybe, and then you grab it in for a bite. Yeah, that was correct. That was the way. Oh, yeah, that was the way. So yeah, Ethiopian food is famous for this bread. I believe it's called injera. Could be wrong about that, but it's the bread which is underneath the food, but yet you eat it with the food. Again, even bread feels like a wrong descriptor to me. when you're picturing bread, you're not picturing this. It's kind of like a savory pancake is a closer thing. It's very spongy, very absorbs flavor very well, and it's very delicious. When combined with the flavors like this. We got some lentils here. Because I grew up with a Sri Lankan grandmother, lentils in the house were just like a very common thing, like prepared in this particular style. And they taste so different, but in a way that I really like. It's the fun thing about like sister cuisines, right, is you get to try the same thing, but way different. We got something special over here I'm curious about. They all seem like similar kind of like colors and taste, but they've got such different flavors. Yeah, like you get some real tang in some, you get some real sweet. It's also fresh, and it's also, because it's all made of vegetables, it feels like you're doing a really good thing for yourself while you're eating all of these delicious flavors together. And yeah, at this point, I need to politely let my camera person eat because this is enough food for 2 people, not just for 1. So Ethiopian food can be found at Beza, and I'm excited to eat some more. And indeed, there's going to be some dessert. But for now, let's cut to the next thing. By the way, when I said I was getting dessert, I actually meant from the other side of the African continent because Dark Sugar is a West African chocolate place. They make a lot of clear heritage comments to that, but mostly they do a ridiculously good-looking hot chocolate that I couldn't resist but try. I was going to have it as my main African item, although I guess I had to argue that at some point, if you say hot chocolate is African food, you don't look very good. You don't look like you're actually going to each country, but I'm still incredibly curious and it just looks so good. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It smells so good in here. So good. It's a fun way to show off all the chocolates too, but I'm mostly just here for the drink. Can I get a hazelnut praline hot chocolate?
That would be 960.
Thank you. So I have to say, it was the most ridiculous process of putting this thing together, and I wonder, am I meant to like dunk it all in there and watch as it slowly, melts in, or am I meant to enjoy that it's like a little on the surface? Either way though, this is something I've wanted to have for a while, so let's go for it. It's most hot chocolates just taste like warm water to me, and people say, oh no, you're wrong, you're just using the wrong hot chocolate. No, if you've got any ingredient besides melted chocolate, I have a slight judginess to you. But this used a healthy dose of, I think, coconut milk. This used a healthy dose of chocolate, as you saw right there, and honestly, actually tastes like it as a result. Really, really big fan. I also got a second one here. You can't have the chocolate shavings if you want it to be entirely dairy-free, and so, no, they have to be dark chocolate. Anyway, long story short, this is what it looks like. Very, very fun. Yeah, fun hot chocolate. I feel like this does suffer the problem of like, you can taste hot water in there, and to my mind, you should never taste hot water as an ingredient. Cold drinks are always better. Hot water is one of the most I love water, but hot water is an abomination. But anyway, that's an opinion that's very popular in some parts of the world, but we're going around to the rest today, and so you might be wondering, how are we going to do Australian food? That's a whole constant that raises some questions, right? Australia is a place you might say has no cuisine, but if you think there's no such thing as Australian food, you might be interested to learn about some weird things have happened while we've been recording here, by the way. You might be interested to learn that you can find Australian food, and it's some of the best, and some of my favorite genuinely, and so we're going to be going down on the overground to Surrey Quays for this next one. So good. Oh, the chocolate. I've got even more chocolate in here now. It's ridiculous. Melted chocolate is just the best way to enjoy it. If you're going to enjoy something hot, it's got to be melted chocolate or cheese, or maybe both together. But that's not what you'll find in Australia, which I'm going to actually go towards now. The overground has been taken, and now I'm at the Pear Tree in Surrey Quays. This area apparently has more than one Australian thing. I saw a man with van that advertised specifically that is Australian. Who wants a kangaroo to move their stuff? Not me, but apparently people in this area. But yeah, if you want Australian food, this is the place. Totally recommend it. Hope it's open. Okay, it's the next day and I'm back, and the place is so good that genuinely I just had to be like, well, I'll put this whole thing on hold for a day because this is one of the best Australian places, and a lot of people don't seem to know what that means, so let me show you. So what exactly Australian means is one of those confusing things until you see it, but I think the simplest way to clarify would be very worldwide food, a very strong Asian influence because obviously Australia's so close to it, but then obviously you notice the traditional British stuff kind of mixed in there, and honestly some American stuff too, like in the ridiculous over-the-top French toast or pancakes, but also it's always like a cool place, I would say, which doesn't make any sense that you can describe Australian as cool, but it always is. Try and find an Australian place that isn't, you know, like all these bougie fancy things, because you can't. They all earn far too much money. I think they're the richest country per capita in the world, and so they don't have poor people food. They only have the classy stuff. And let me show you what that looks like. So this is listed on the menu as prawn toast, and I love prawn toast as a snack. I've never had it as a breakfast though, so let's find out. I really don't even know what the flavor is going to be. I don't know what the sauce is. I just know I'm excited because it sounds delicious, right? That is a fun way to do prawn toast. There's a little bit of spice to the sauce. But the smoothness of the prawn toast is there, the spices are all in there, and then weirdly enough there's an egg on top. So we combine that into the fold, we're going to arrive at something which I think is quite special. Because already this prawn toast and this sauce is doing some heavy lifting, but if you combine them together... Okay, I put far too much in my mouth just then. It is very, very hot, but it is delicious. That is a really fun mix of flavors that I just haven't had anywhere else, and that is always what I feel like is actually the Australian thing. Got a smoothie of peanut butter and look at the way the smoothie comes in a glass bottle like this, and then everything has a vegan option. So here's what the vegan breakfast looks like. Everything here is pretty unique looking. Like, actually, this is spinach of some form, right? Oh, interesting. Yeah. And then there's a big pile of cheese looking stuff, and then also so many cherry tomatoes, and then some beans, and then there's a lot going on with the vegan breakfast too. But yeah, I am very glad that I came here. It was worth the few visits. And this is just breakfast. They have a full all-day menu. And I feel like all-day menus usually look a lot more like Asian-inspired. But it's always, again, maybe just a different version of westernized Asian food, if you want to say it that way. But I love Australian food, and that's why I come to this continent for my food. And again, I think you'll find that's another continent covered. And so now all we have to cover is what, like Europe, Asia, and technically Antarctica. So we can cover Antarctica with some ice cream. Love this ice cream place right here, Chin Chin Dessert Club. They must eat ice cream all the time if they're in a continent made of ice. For British food, I was tempted to just go into a Wetherspoons, but my actual response is instead this. As it would be to say that to get European food, all you have to do is go into a Wetherspoons. Instead, I wanted to say something European that is distinctly not British. And so one of the big flaws that many people have pointed out about Europeans is like, yeah, we haven't eradicated the French entirely. We've allowed them to exist for all of this time. Big problem. But the reason we've done it, don't get me wrong, even as someone who is very French skeptical myself, is the pastry is next level. It is not a meme that you go to France for pastries. It really is that good. And to prove that to you, here I am at a French bakery in Hampstead, an artisan boulangerie, salon d'été, and I'm going to get myself one of those weird French pastries that looks like it kind of looks like it'd be wibbly, but you're going to see it. I don't know what it's even called. A cannoli. I'm not up on the French words, but you're going to love it. So I got myself a canneille and a financier, one of the big perks of living, I guess, 2 hours from France. A lot of downsides, but one of the perks is really pretty authentic French pastries. This is my canneille. This is something I always talk about. You see this everywhere and it looks so fancy, but you'd never order one, right? For this video, I want to try and, I could just go for croissants, but I'm going for more fancy stuff. And I got a financier too. So canneille, definitely how you say it, and financier, let's go. So this one has a raspberry on top. I feel like I have to get that all in my first bite, or maybe we could just, yeah, I think we have to go, nope, it's not gonna fit. Okay, this is a poorly designed pastry. My mouth is not this wide. Am I meant to just start from the top then? It's cakey. It's very unexpected. It's like a cakey bread, kind of like a brioche. Instead in the middle there was a special surprise. It's good though. It's really good. Honestly though, this tastes like a very high-end Jaffa cake. It's good, but it's just a Jaffa cake. But yeah, the fanciest Jaffa cake in the world, something that is a compliment. And for a financier, I do have to say, again, very edible. These pastries are designed so you can have a whole one and not feel like you've just eaten too much cake. And I like that. I think that's a big plus. And that is something you can get with European food. It's not so bad for you that it kills you, like some parts of the world. Speaking of being killed, when it comes to Asian food in London, famously there's very little. There's definitely not entire districts dedicated to specific branches of Asian food. And so this was a real hard one. And I wanted to, again, deliberately not go for Indian food on Brick Lane or Bangladeshi or whatever, or go for Chinese food in Chinatown. And so instead, I've got a fun one lined up, which I'm gonna go to right now, I guess. Because I've come all the way back across London to Borough Market, which is where you can find one of my favourite countries' cuisine. I miss Singapore so much every time I go, and one of the great things about going to Borough Market is I can get some Singaporean hawker stand style food right here. Borough Market's a bit of a weird one because most markets around the world you just expect to be street food. This one interestingly has a lot of like real produce or wine style stuff, if that's your thing. It isn't mine. But in the case of this market, just keep following it until you find Mei, the Singaporean stand. I have wanted to come here for so long, and so what better time than to eat an Asian style cuisine that you're probably not thinking of, and so let's go for it actually, right now. I've never seen chicken rice anywhere in London, but also they have char siu pork, which is my absolute favorite. I think I had it at a Michelin star place in Singapore, but it cost about $5 Singaporean dollars, which is a depressing amount when you convert to pounds compared to what we're paying here, but maybe this will be delicious anyway. So let's get some chicken rice on that, I guess. And maybe even get some coffee on the side. Might be fun. Rose syrup, evaporated milk, cream soda. Okay, I'm gonna get myself an iced bandung to go with that because that sounds like I might enjoy it. With a Milo topping, heck yeah. It sounds like a lot of things that wouldn't go together, but I'm gonna trust they know what they're doing. I'm gonna pay right now. So true to what I said, there is in fact a vegan option here. It is the Singaporean vegan curry. I'm very, very curious as to how this is going to be. It's got these giant tofu puffs that I love in Asian style cuisine, but I'll just try some of the sauce for now with some rice and get a vibe for it. Oh, so creamy. That is so sweet. That's almost like a korma, and you know, to use a different Asian country's parlance. Absolutely delicious in a way I wasn't expecting. Just to try one of these little puffs now. That's the good stuff. I think we'd have less of an aversion to soy and tofu if it was all prepared this way. If it was all prepared as good as this. There's some carrots in here. There's a lot of rice in the fun style that I quite like. And yeah, now we can combine that with some sampo. So this is the basic rice. I'm assuming not the chicken rice. If it's a vegan bowl. But this is what I'm here for. This is my char siu pork, my pride and joy. And so, yeah, looking around this, it always comes with this fun little pot of like something to dump on there. I do really bad at spice, but that's not going to stop me from just having a bit of fun because this stuff tastes so good. I'm just going to go crazy on it because, yeah, this is an absolutely incredible dish usually. But how was it today? Well, let's find out. I think I got some rice on the ground. So I'm going to grab a piece of pork. I'm going to grab a piece of rice. I'm going to mix them together, hopefully, and see what that creates. Okay, that is incredible char siu pork. I scoffed a little bit at the price, but that tastes as good as I've had anywhere. This is absolutely incredible. So good. Anyway, there is also a drink to finish up our review with today, and indeed our video, because now I've been to every continent without leaving London, I can say pretty definitively that, yeah, ultimately, there is an abundance of food, so much so that you might genuinely be able to find some from every country. And a part of me really wants to repeat this again, find food from each continent, over and over again until I've tried every single country's cuisine somewhere on the internet. Let me know if you think that's a fun thing. But for now, lychee plus condensed milk plus sugar plus Milo. Let's go. Oh, no, rose, not lychee. You'd very much taste that it's rose immediately. Whoa, that is a fun shock of a drink. The cream soda does come out quite strong. The rose syrup makes this a really interesting drink. And the Milo, I don't think it really adds or removes anything. So I wouldn't necessarily get it if it was less than 25p. but to make the drink look fun and have that little bit of extra ting, yeah, I'm a big fan. I would go for this again. Definitely recommend Mei Mei, and indeed everywhere else in this video. I don't go to bad places most of the time, and if you watch this video, then either will you. Thank you for watching, go check out Food Memory Constant, and I'll see you next time. Bye!